The name of the topic is climate. So, in this video, we will be discussing about first, we will have an introduction to the concept of climate and weather. Second, climate variation, observation of India. Third, factors controlling the climatic conditions. Fourth, factors affecting India's climate. Fifth, reason for the Indian monsoon. Sixth, about the course of the monsoon. And seventh, about the different seasons in India. So let us start. First, let us discuss about the concept of climate and weather. So, do climate and weather mean the same? Well, the answer is no. Climate refers to the sum total of weather conditions and variations over a large area for a long period of time, that is, maybe more than 30 years. Whereas, weather refers to the state of atmosphere over an area at any point of time. The elements of weather and climate are temperature, atmospheric pressure, wind, humidity, and precipitation. On the basis of the generalized monthly atmospheric conditions, the year is divided into seasons such as winter, summer, or the rainy seasons. Also, the world is divided into a number of climatic regions. The climate of India is described as the monsoon type. The word monsoon is derived from the Arabic word mausim, which literally means season. The sailors who came to India in the historic times were one of the first to have noticed the phenomena of the monsoon. They benefited from the reversal of the wind system as they came by sailing ships at the mercy of winds. The Arabs, who had also come to India as traders, named this seasonal reversal of the wind system as monsoon. In Asia, this type of climate is found mainly in the south and the southeast. Now let us discuss about the climate variation observation of India. Despite an overall unity in the general pattern, there are perceptible regional variations in the climatic conditions within the country. That is, there may be temperature variations in terms of the precipitation, etc. So let us discuss about the temperature variation in different seasons. In summer, the mercury usually touches 50 degrees Celsius in some parts of the Rajasthan desert, whereas it may be around 20 degrees Celsius in the Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir. Similarly, on a winter night, the temperature at Dras, which is in Jammu and Kashmir, may be as low as minus 45 degrees Celsius, whereas on the other hand, Thiruvananthapuram may have a temperature of 22 degrees Celsius. The temperature variation can also be seen in a similar day, that is on this very same day. For example, in certain places, there is a wide differences between the day and night temperatures. For example, in the Thar desert, the day temperature may rise to 50 degrees Celsius and then drop down to nearly 15 degrees Celsius on the same night. On the other hand, there is hardly any difference in the day and night temperatures in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands or in Kerala. Now let us look at the variation in terms of precipitation, that is, rainfall. There are variations in the form and types of precipitation and also in its amount and the seasonal distribution. While precipitation is mostly in the form of snowfall in the upper parts of Himalayas, it rains over the rest of the country. The annual precipitation varies from over 400 cm in Meghalaya to less than 10 cm in Ladakh and western Rajasthan. Most parts of the country receive rainfall from June to September. But some parts like Tamil Nadu coast gets a large portion of its rain during the months of October and November. However, we can see some common observation regarding the temperature and the precipitation. First, the coastal areas experience less contrast in temperature conditions. Second, the seasonal contrasts are more in the interior of the country. And third, there is a decrease in the rainfall generally from east to west in the northern plains. Now let us discuss about the factors which control the climatic conditions. So there are 6 major factors controlling the climate of any place. They are A. Latitude, B. Altitude, C. Pressure and wind system, D. Distance from the sea, E. Ocean currents, and F, that is the relief features. Now we will be discussing each of them now. Latitude. Due to the curvature of the earth, the amount of solar energy that is received varies according to the latitude. As a result, the air temperature generally decreases from the equator towards the poles. Altitude. As one goes from the surface of the earth to higher altitudes, the atmosphere becomes less dense and temperature decreases. Therefore, we can say that hills are cooler during the summers. Pressure and wind system. The pressure and wind system of any area depends on both the latitude and the altitude of that place. Thus, it influences the temperature and the rainfall pattern. Distance from the sea. Distance from the sea. The sea exerts a moderating influence on the climate. As the distance from the sea increases, its moderating influence decreases and the people experience extreme weather conditions. This condition is known as continentality, that is, very hot during the summers and very cold during the winters. Ocean currents. Ocean currents along with the onshore winds affect the climate of the coastal areas. For example, any coastal area with warm or cold currents flowing past it will be warmed or cooled if the winds are onshore. Relief features. Finally, relief too plays a major role in determining the climate of a place. High mountains act as barriers for cold or hot winds. They may also cause precipitation if they are high enough and lie in the path of rain-bearing winds. The leeward side of mountains, however, remains relatively dry. Now let us discuss about the factors that affect the climate of our country. First, the latitude. The Tropic of Cancer passes through the middle of the country from the Run of Kutch in the west to Mizoram in the east. Almost half of the country lying south of the Tropic of Cancer belongs to the tropical area. All the remaining area north of the tropic lies in the subtropics. Therefore, India's climate has characteristics of tropical as well as subtropical climate. Altitude. India has mountains to the north which have an average height of about 6,000 meters. India also has a vast coastal area where the maximum elevation is about 30 meters. The Himalayas prevent the cold winds from Central Asia from entering the subcontinent. It is because of these mountains that this subcontinent experiences comparatively milder winters as compared to Central Asia. Pressure and winds. The climate and associated weather conditions in India are governed by the following atmospheric conditions: A. Pressure and surface wind, B. Upper air circulation, C. Western cyclonic disturbances and the tropical cyclones. The pressure and surface winds. India lies in the region of northeasterly winds, and these winds originate from the subtropical high pressure belt of the northern hemisphere. They blow southwards and get deflected to the right due to the Coriolis force and move towards the equatorial low pressure area. Generally, these winds carry little moisture as they originate and blow over land. Therefore, they bring little or no rain. Now, what is Coriolis force? Coriolis force is an apparent force which is caused by the Earth's rotation. It is responsible for deflecting the winds towards the right in the northern hemisphere and towards the left in the southern hemisphere. This is also known as Ferrel's law. Hence, India should have been an arid land, but it is not so, as the pressure and wind conditions over India are unique. Now let us understand about the distribution of pressure in India. During winter, there is a high pressure area north of the Himalayas. Cold dry winds blow from this region to the low pressure areas over the oceans to the south. However, in summer, a low pressure area develops over the interior Asia as well as over northwestern India. This causes a complete reversal of the direction of winds during summer. Air moves from the high pressure area over the southern Indian Ocean in a southeasterly direction, crosses the equator and turns right towards the low pressure areas over the Indian subcontinent. These are known as the southwest monsoon winds. These winds blow over the warm oceans, gather moisture, and bring widespread rainfall over the mainland of India. Now let us talk about the upper air circulation. The upper air circulation over the mainland of India is dominated by a westerly flow. An important component of this flow is the jet stream. Jet streams are the narrow belt of high altitude, that is nearly above 12,000 meter, westerly winds in the troposphere. Their speed varies from about 110 km per hour in summers to about 184 km per hour in winter. A number of separate jet streams have also been identified, and the most constant are the mid-latitude and the subtropical jet stream. Now, there are two types of jet streams. First is the westerly jet streams, and second is the easterly jet streams. The jet streams, which are located approximately over 27 degree to 30 degree north latitude, are known as the subtropical westerly jet streams. Over India, these jet streams blow south of the Himalayas all through the year except in summer. What happens in summer then? In summer, the subtropical westerly jet stream moves north of the Himalayas with the apparent movement of the sun, whereas an easterly jet stream called the subtropical easterly jet stream blows over peninsular India approximately over 14 degree north during the summer months. Now let us finally discuss about the western cyclonic disturbances and the tropical cyclones. The western cyclonic disturbances experienced in the north and northwestern parts of the country are brought in by the westerly jet streams. The western cyclonic disturbances are weather phenomena of the winter months brought in by the westerly flow from the Mediterranean region. They usually influence the weather of the north and the northwestern regions of India, whereas the tropical cyclones occur during the monsoon as well as in October-November and are part of the easterly jet streams. These disturbances affect the coastal areas of our country. Now, let us discuss about the reasons for the Indian monsoon. As we all know that the climate of India is strongly influenced by the monsoon winds. The monsoons are experienced in the tropical area roughly between 20 degree north and 20 degrees south. To understand the mechanism of monsoons, the following facts are important. A. The differential in the heating and cooling of land and water, which creates low pressure on the landmass of India, while the seas around experience comparatively high pressure. B. The shift of the position of the intertropical convergence zone, that is the ITCZ in summer, over the Ganga plain, which is the equatorial trough normally positioned about 5 degrees north of the equator and is also known as the monsoon trough during the monsoon season. C. The intertropical convergence zone, ITCZ, is a broad trough of low pressure in equatorial latitudes. This is where the northeast and the southeast trade winds converge. This convergence zone lies more or less parallel to the equator but moves north or south with the apparent movement of the sun. D. The presence of the high pressure area east of Madagascar, approximately at 20 degrees south over the Indian Ocean. The intensity and position of this high pressure area affects the Indian monsoon. E. The Tibetan Plateau gets intensely heated during summer, which results in strong vertical air currents and the formation of low pressure over the plateau at about 9 km above the sea level. F. The movement of the westerly jet stream to the north of the Himalayas and the presence of the tropical easterly jet stream over the Indian peninsula during the summers. Now, let us talk about the other factors which are influencing or impacting the Indian monsoon. So, apart from this, it has also been noticed that the changes in the pressure conditions over the southern oceans also affect the monsoon. Normally, when the tropical eastern South Pacific Ocean experiences high pressure, the tropical eastern Indian Ocean experiences low pressure. But in certain years, there is a reversal in the pressure conditions and the eastern Pacific has a low pressure in comparison to the eastern Indian Ocean. Now, this periodic change in the pressure conditions is known as the Southern Oscillation or SO. Hence, the difference in the pressure over Tahiti and Darwin in northern Australia is computed to predict the intensity of the monsoons in India. If the pressure differences were negative, it would mean a below average and late monsoons for our country. Now, a feature which is connected with the Southern Oscillation is the El Nino phenomena, in which a warm ocean current flows past the Peruvian coast in place of the cold Peruvian current every 2 to 5 years. The changes in the pressure conditions are connected to the El Nino. Hence, the phenomena is referred to as ENSO, that is El Nino Southern Oscillations. Now, what is El Nino? El Nino is a name given to the periodic development of a warm ocean current along the coast of Peru as a temporary replacement of the cold Peruvian current. El Nino is a Spanish word meaning the child and refers to baby Christ as this current starts flowing during Christmas. The presence of El Nino leads to an increase in sea surface temperatures and the weakening of the trade winds in the region. Now let us discuss about the course of the monsoon. The duration of the monsoon is between 100 to 120 days from early June to mid-September. Around the time of its arrival, the normal rainfall increases suddenly and continues constantly for many days. This is known as the burst of the monsoon and it can be easily distinguished from the pre-monsoon showers. The monsoon arrives at the southern tip of the Indian peninsula generally by the first week of June. Subsequently, it proceeds into two, that is, the Arabian Sea branch and the Bay of Bengal branch. The Arabian Sea branch reaches Mumbai about 10 days later on approximately the 10th of June. This is a fairly rapid advance, whereas the Bay of Bengal branch also advances rapidly and arrives in Assam in the first week of June. The lofty mountains cause the monsoon winds to deflect towards the west over the Ganga plains. By the mid-June, the Arabian Sea branch of the monsoon arrives over Saurashtra, Kutch and the central part of the country. Here, the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal branches of the monsoon merge over the northwestern part of the Ganga plains. Delhi generally receives the monsoon showers from the Bay of Bengal branch by the end of the June and the tentative date is around 29th of June. By the first week of July, western Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana and eastern Rajasthan also experience the monsoon. And by mid-July, the monsoon reaches Himachal Pradesh and the rest of our country. The withdrawal or the retreat of the monsoon is a more gradual process. The withdrawal of the monsoon begins in the northwestern states of India by early September. And by mid-October, it withdraws completely from the northern half of the peninsula. whereas the withdrawal from the southern half of the peninsula is fairly rapid. By early December, the monsoon has withdrawn from the rest of the country. The islands receive the very first monsoon showers progressively from south to north from the last week of April to the first week of May. The withdrawal takes place progressively from north to south from the first week of December to the first week of January. By this time, the rest of the country is already under the influence of the winter monsoon. Now let us finally talk about the seasons of our country. So, there are 4 main seasons in our country. A. The cold weather season. B. The hot weather season. C. The advancing monsoon. And D. The retreating monsoon with some regional variations. So let us first discuss about the cold weather season, that is winters. The cold weather season begins from mid-November in northern India and stays till February. December and January are the coldest months in the northern part of India. The temperature decreases from south to north. Days are warm and nights are cold. Frost is common in north and the higher slopes of the Himalayas experiences snowfall. During this season, the northeast trade winds prevail over the country and blow from land to sea, and hence, for most part of the country, it is a dry season. Some amount of rainfall occurs on the Tamil Nadu coast. From these winds, as here, they blow from sea to land. In the northern part of the country, a feeble high pressure region develops, with light winds moving outwards from this area. Influenced by the relief, these winds blow through the Ganga Valley from the west and the northwest. The weather is normally marked by clear sky, low temperatures, and low humidity and feeble variable winds. A characteristic feature of the cold weather season over the northern plains is the inflow of the cyclonic disturbances from the west and the northwest. These low pressure systems originate over the Mediterranean Sea and Western Asia and move into India, along with a westerly flow. They cause the much needed winter rains over the plains and snowfall in the mountains. Although the total amount of winter rainfall, locally known as Mahavat, is very small, and they are of immense importance for the cultivation of the rabi crops. The peninsular region does not have a well-defined cold season, that is, they do not have a well-defined winter season. There is hardly any noticeable change in the seasonal change that we say in temperature pattern during winters due to the moderating influence of the sea. Now this was about the winter season. Now let us talk about the next season, that is the hot weather season, which is the summers. Due to the apparent northward movement of the sun, the global heat belt shifts northwards. As such, from March to May, it is hot weather season in India. The influence of the shifting of the heat belt can be seen clearly from the temperature recordings that is taken during March and May at different latitudes. The summer months experience rising temperatures and falling air pressure in the northern part of the country. Towards the end of the May, an elongated low pressure area develops in the region extending from Thar Desert in the northwest to Patna and Chota Nagpur Plateau in the east and southeast. The circulation of air begins to set in around this trough. A striking feature of the hot weather season is the Lu. Lu are the strong, gusty, hot, dry winds blowing during the day over the north and northwestern India. Dust storms are very common during the month of May in northern India. These storms bring temporary relief as they lower the temperature and may bring light rain and cool breeze. This is also the season for localized thunderstorms associated with violent winds, torrential downpours, often accompanied by hail. In West Bengal, these storms are known as Kal Baisakhi. Towards the close of the summer season, pre-monsoon showers are common, especially in Kerala and Karnataka. They help in the early ripening of mangoes and therefore are often referred to as the mango showers. Now let us discuss about third season, that is the advancing monsoon or the rainy season. By early June, the low pressure condition over the northern plains intensifies. It attracts the trade winds of the southern hemisphere. These southeast trade winds originate over the warm subtropical areas of the southern oceans. They cross the equator and blow in a southwesterly direction, entering the Indian peninsula as the southwest monsoon. As these winds blow over warm oceans, they bring abundant moisture to the subcontinent. These winds are strong and blow at an average velocity of 30 km per hour. The inflow of the southwest monsoon into India brings about a total change in the weather. Early in the season, the windward side of the Western Ghats receives very heavy rainfall, that is, more than 250 centimeters. The Deccan Plateau and parts of Madhya Pradesh also receive some amount of rain, in spite of lying in the rain shadow area. The maximum rainfall of this season is, however, received in the northeastern part of the country. Mysuru, in the southern ranges of the Khasi Hills, receives the highest average rainfall in the world. The rainfall in the Ganga Valley decreases from east to the west, and Rajasthan and parts of Gujarat get very scanty rainfall. Another phenomena which is associated with the monsoon is its tendency to have breaks in the rainfall. Thus, it has wet and dry spells. In other words, the monsoon rains take place only for a few days at a time. They are interspersed with rainless intervals. These breaks in monsoon are related to the movement of monsoon trough. For various reasons, the trough and its axis keep on moving northward or southward, which determines the spatial distribution of rainfall. When the axis of the monsoon trough lies over the plains, rainfall is good in these parts. Whereas on the other hand, whenever the axis shifts closer to the Himalayas, there are longer dry spells in the plains and widespread rain occur in the mountainous catchment areas of the Himalayan rivers. The frequency and intensity of tropical depressions too determine the amount and the duration of monsoon rains. These depressions form at the head of the Bay of Bengal and cross over to the mainland. The depressions follow the axis of the monsoon trough of low pressure. Hence, the monsoon is known for its uncertainties. Now let us finally discuss about the fourth season, that is the retreating monsoons or the post-monsoon, which is also known as the transition season. During October-November, with the apparent movement of the sun towards the south, the monsoon trough or the low pressure trough over the northern plains becomes weaker. This is gradually replaced by a high pressure system. The southwest monsoon winds weaken and start withdrawing gradually. By the beginning of October, the monsoon withdraws from the northern plains. The months of October-November form a period of transition from the hot rainy season to the dry winter conditions. The retreat of the monsoon is marked by clear skies and rise in temperature. While day temperatures are high, nights are cool and pleasant. The land is still moist. Owing to the conditions of high temperature and humidity, the weather becomes rather oppressive during the day, and this is commonly known as the October heat. In the second half of October, the mercury begins to fall rapidly in northern India. The low pressure conditions over the northwestern India get transferred to the Bay of Bengal by early November. This shift is associated with the occurrence of cyclonic depressions which originate over the Andaman Sea. These cyclones generally cross the eastern coasts of India, cause heavy and widespread rain. The thickly populated deltas of Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri are frequently struck by cyclones, which cause great damage to both life and property. Sometimes these cyclones arrive at the coasts of Odisha, West Bengal, and Bangladesh. And the bulk of rainfall of the Coromandel coast is also derived from the depressions and the cyclones. So, this is all. Thank you.